Hi guys, I'm back and I'm getting ready to start the assembly of the sauerkraut and veggie quiche, which is going to be like a German quiche. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my coconut oil and I'm putting it on a napkin, paper towel, and I'm going to grease the dish I plan to use. So that's going to be the first step. Once I get that done, this is a crustless quiche to keep it low carb, so it works well with our intermittent fasting regimen we've got going right now. So what I'm going to do is so that we have some sort of a thing on the bottom that will hold everything together, I'm going to use some Swiss cheese because we're trying to keep this kind of a Rueben type flair. So I'm going to use this sliced cheese and I'm going to put it on the bottom of our dish and reserving some for the top at the end. So I'm going to take 5 slices and then that will leave 6 slices. So I could take a 6th one and cut it and break it in half. And then for the top layer I can just use the other 5. Yeah, so that works well. So now there's the bottom of the dish with the cheese. The next thing that I'm going to put in is going to be my greens. So they're right here, my organic greens. And they will wilt. So I think I can probably use the whole thing unless I see some that needs to be pulled out and tossed like that one right there. I'll set it aside to throw away. But I'm going to put it in the dish because, as I say, when this stuff cooks, it will wilt. There are some bad places in these greens, so I'm having to toss some of them, which is okay. I've had them for a little while, and if you don't use greens fast enough, they will go bad. So it's just part of our everyday life. So when you're using greens, spinach, or other greens like this, you just look through them while you're using them and pull out bad spots and discard. All right, so now I got my greens in there. Okay, I'm going to throw this away. Excuse me. Dropped one on the floor I wanted to pick up before I smeared it with my shoes. Okay, so now I got my greens in my dish. And we're looking like that. That's on top of that cheese that you'd already seen. Now the next layer is going to be the corned beef. And it's right here. And I have already taken the top of the can off. It's the type that you do with the key. And I'm going to need to slice this. And I didn't get a cutting board, so give me just a second to grab one of those. Here's one. I found one right handy in the drainer. So I'm going to move that up, and I'm going to take this out of the can. And there are some bits of this still in the can, and I want to clean it out because I hate to waste any of it. So those I'm just going to drop on there by pieces, just so as not to waste the corned beef. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to take this corned beef right here that was in the can, and I'm going to cut it up into little squares. Kind of like that. I'll break it. And then I'm just going to lay it around on top of the greens. There's going to be enough grease in this corned beef that as this cooks in the oven, it's going to help really wilt that organic mixed greens, which is what we want. We want that to become wilted during the cooking process. So I'm just breaking this up into pieces and laying it on top of the greens. This is great. This has been just about the perfect amount of meat to go in this dish. So I want to clean my knife off. Okay. So I got that part done. Now the next part is going to be the sauerkraut. And I was using this right here, the classic sauerkraut. And what I did was I drained it in a colander, and I saved the juice. You can see that the juice is in a bowl underneath because that has good properties, and I'm probably going to drink it, drink the juice when we get done with all this. So anyway, here's my sauerkraut, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it around on top of the corned beef. So now we've got Swiss cheese, greens, corned beef, and then sauerkraut. Now, I'm making this recipe up out of my head. Never done it before. I don't know how it's going to taste, but we love sauerkraut, and we like the corned beef and sauerkraut like a Reuben sandwich kind of a thing as a rule. So I think we'll enjoy this, and I'll be anxious to try it. But I feel like it's going to turn out to be a decent meal. Anyway, that's what I do. I experiment. So we'll see how it goes. And after this goes on Facebook, I may have to let everybody know later how it tasted. Okay, but I'm done with that. Okay, so now this is how our quiche is looking. The only part we don't have in there is the egg mixture with the seasonings and then the final cheese. So this is all the eggs I have. So as you can see, there's 10 eggs. I'm missing 2 out of the dozen. So I'll use what eggs I have, and it'll just have to be enough. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's all we got. So I'm going to crack these eggs into the dish. I know what I'm going to do too. To thin it down, I'll use some of that sauerkraut juice. Instead of using a milk alternative, I'll pour a little of that sauerkraut juice in there with the eggs and the seasonings I'm going to use. I'm throwing those eggshells back into this carton because they'll go in the trash. So I have 2 more eggs to get. Okay, so there's my 10 eggs. And now there's my empty carton with the eggshells. And it's gone to the trash. I'm going to slide this out of my way. And we're going to talk about these seasonings. So I've got the Himalayan pink salt. And I don't measure stuff, I just guess. So that was 7 grinds of that. Then I have black pepper. And I'll just pour a little into my hand, using my hand for a measure, and drop it in. Then I have onion and chive blend. Organic thyme. And I didn't have any garlic powder, so I'm doing garlic and herb blend. It's got garlic powder in the blend along with a few other things. So there again, measure into my hand and drop it in. Now what I want to do is I want to pour a little of this sauerkraut juice in there. There we go. And I'm going to take a fork to to whip these eggs up. Once I feel like I got it mixed good, then I'm going to evenly pour the egg mixture over top of the meat and veggie mixture. Try to do this as evenly as I can because I want the eggs to cook through, and they will cook up through the mixture, and then at the end it should look like an egg. The eggs have set, so this is going to go into a 375, well actually I'm going to do a 425 degree oven, and then let it bake for about 45 minutes. And then at that point, I will pull it out of the oven and I will put the other cheese on top. And I may do a follow-up video to show that part. But first it has to bake for 45 minutes. So I'll be coming back to you in other follow-up segments on this quiche as well as assembly of the kebabs. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for your time and attention.